Hey guys, thanks for joining me here in sunny Vancouver. We got the sun out, the rain's gone away for today, so we're very lucky. We're going to be focusing a little bit on flexibility today. We're going to have a look at a bit of triathlon specific. My name is James Greenwood. I'm a triathlon coach, and I'm going to be taking you through the sequence of stretches that will hopefully help you remain injury free, have a good range of motion about your joints, and just basically keep your performance at the optimal level that it should be. Now, a couple of things before we get going. We're going to be using, we got our bands. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of some of these TheraBands. We use these in our training. I've got my ball right behind me, so we're going to be making use of a couple of these. A lot of the stretches are just body weight. You don't need apparatus to do them, but they do focus on a lot of the key or critical areas that triathletes tend to have issues with, starting with obviously through the shoulders and the chest, the upper back, between the shoulder blades, the thoracic spine. We tend to pick up a lot of issues in the hips, around the quads and hamstrings, and down into the calves and the feet. So we're going to focus on those areas particularly. Obviously, there are a number of stretches that you can do on top of these ones. If you go to yourtriathlonpipeline.com, you can get a whole bunch more stretches and information specific to the stretching. So I'm going to get things going off here. So I just want you to start off, just grab a hold of a band. Either one works, doesn't matter which one you have. If you don't, you can get hold of a towel, put it over your toes, and we're going to start lying down onto the floor, and I'm going to put this band straight over my toe. Now, the stretches we're doing here, we want to hold for between, I'd say 30 to 60 seconds, 45 to 60 seconds being the optimal. This stretch here we're starting off with is focusing on a muscle called the gastrocnemius, or the calf. All right, it's the muscle that crosses over the knee, and what I want you to focus on is actually pulling the toe toward the knee. So we're pulling the toe toward the knee, the leg is staying fully extended or straight, and we're holding that there. Now just be careful when you pull on the band that it doesn't snap off the toe and hit you in the face. All right, so we're going to hold that stretch. Just try and relax. We keep this knee bent. We want to keep the hips flat on the floor. The stretch should not be painful. It should be, you should feel it pulling through the muscle, but it should not be sore. All right? And all the time, I just put a little counter on my watch for 45 seconds, and that then just tells me how long I've been holding the stretch for. Obviously, what we do to the one side, we do to the other. All right? We've got 5 seconds more. Keep holding that stretch. And good work, and let's let it go. Let's go on to the other side now. So we change legs onto the other toe, and there it is. Straight leg, pulling it out. Feel that straight through the back of the leg. Left leg, foot on the floor, keeping the hips nice down, flat on the mat, and relaxing. Breathing is so important, guys. You have got to get the oxygen into the system. It helps you to relax, and it's going to help to release the muscle. And we just hold it there. Try and relax as much as you can. Relax the joints, relax the ankle, let the toe come pull down toward the knee. Put a little bit more pull onto the band if you want to get that extra bit of stretch. You've got another 15 seconds. Now these stretches are going to help you avoid issues like Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, calf muscle tears and strains. Very common in running. Also they do occur a lot in cyclists. So also swimmers want a good range of motion or flexibility around the ankle for their kick. Excellent. We're still working around the ankle. We're going on to the second muscle that makes up the calf, and that's called the soleus. Now the soleus muscle does not cross the knee. So to take out the effect of the hamstring, I want you to bend the knee in this position here, and you're going to pull the toe exactly the same way you did on the last stretch with the leg straight. Pull the toe toward your knee. This is going to still stretch through the Achilles at the back of the heel, but it's actually stretching a different muscle. The muscle is called the soleus. All right? We're holding it there. Really aggressively try and get that toe moving up toward the knee. There it is. Good stuff. Keeping nice and relaxed. Again, you're keeping the back pushed into the ground. Activating your core stabilizers. This helps you to actually generate the force of pulling that toe up toward the knee. Give me another 10 seconds on the stretch, guys. As I said, 45 seconds, that's what we're looking for on the stretching. And done. Good work. Let's let that go. We're going to change it up onto the other leg now. So exactly the same stretch, little bend in the knee. Get that band or the towel or whatever you're using wrapped up over the knee there. Nice relax at the ankle. You want to really let go through the calf. You want that calf to lengthen out. This one is probably not as intense as the previous one, the gastrocnemius stretch. This is purely because it is a slightly deeper muscle group. It lies underneath the gastrocnemius, the main calf muscle. Doesn't tend to get as much tension generated within it. So you won't feel exactly, the same sort of stretch as you did on the previous stretch. That's awesome. Good stuff, guys. Breathing the whole time. You want to stay nice and relaxed. You want to lengthen out that muscle. Awesome. Keep pulling on it. Give me another 10 seconds on this one. You can move further into the stretch as you feel the stress in the calf releasing a little bit. Just move further into the stretch. And you're done. Good work. Well done. Okay, so those are 2 basic stretches that you can do for the calves. The second area that we're going to focus on right now are the hamstrings. Now the hamstrings, especially in runners, are always a big issue. Always tight, and that affects your running mechanics. Cyclists and swimmers also suffer from hamstring issues. So we're going to start off just with a regular, traditional, straight leg hamstring stretch. Very similar position as you did for the calf or the gastrocnemius. But this time what I want you to do, I want you to pull the leg closer toward the 90 degrees. So you're actually moving more into the back of the leg, a little bit away from the calf. You don't have to worry so much about pulling the toe toward the knee this time, and pull it up there. I want you to keep the pelvis flat on the mat. I don't want you lifting the pelvis to get into a greater range of motion. Work within a range of motion that you can tolerate. You decide how far you can stretch. All right? Breathing, keeping relaxed. That's awesome. Now there are 3 parts to the hamstring. We've got the biceps femoris, which is the long muscle in the hamstring, which crosses the hip and the knee. This is what we're stretching right now. We have 2 others which we're going to move into now. The second one is called the semitendinosus, and the third is the semimembranosus. What I want you to do here, again, keeping the pelvis nice and flat on the mat, just drop your leg down to the side, still pulling up toward your head. You're going to feel that stretch on the inside of the thigh now, running up the inner thigh. That is where you're going to feel that stretch. Okay, obviously the further down you go, the deeper the stretch is. The more you pull the leg up, the deeper the stretch goes. Start conservatively, then get more aggressive as you feel that you can work within that range of motion. Let's hold that there for another 15 seconds. I'm going to back it off a little bit, pull it up toward my face a little more. That's perfect. Just holding it there. You want to stay nice and relaxed. You're not tensing up any muscles in the thigh. You want to relax the muscles to release them. Very important. The third, we're basically going to have to straighten the leg. We're not working with a supporting leg flat on the floor anymore. We're going the opposite way across the body now. So now what we're doing, we're actually coming over the leg that is flat on the floor and pulling. Keep the leg straight. You're not going to be able to get a big range of motion here. You're on the inside, stretching down the outside of the thigh now. All right, so now we've hit all 3 of those hamstring muscles. We've hit all 3 of them. These are pretty painful because these 2 particularly, the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus, the outside and inside stretches are generally not that often stretched. These areas tend to get very tight. You feel that right through the back of the knee. Oh, that's a pretty uncomfortable stretch. Wow. All right, let's go. Let's change it up. We're on to the other side. Strap that band around the toe. And there it is again. Starting with the straight leg, let's stretch it out. Focus more on the back of the leg, less on the calf. You can incorporate the 2 if you want. Allowing the toe to pull down toward the knee will activate the gastrocnemius. Pulling the toe over the head or over the face will get that biceps femoris a lot more. All right, there it is. Keep holding it there, relaxing up, making sure that that muscle is getting lengthened. Good work. That pelvis is always nice and flat on the floor, nice neutral spine. I'm going to roll straight into the second component. We're moving on to the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus stretch. To the outside we go. Adjust your foot position, allowing you to keep your lower back supported on the mat. We don't want to put the body in any compromising positions here. We don't want to injure you while you're stretching. And start, even if you start there, that's fine. It's not about how far you can stretch, it's about the quality of the stretch that you're doing. Stay on the mat the whole time. Good stuff, guys, keep it going. Obviously the lower body musculature, the left of the arms. I'm just going to move into the third component of the stretch now. The lower limbs are the ones that tend to do the most work, especially in the running and the cycling. So the majority of the stretching that you're going to do will focus on this musculature. So there are a number of upper body stretches that are critical, but obviously you really want to maintain that, you know, the stretching is going to actually allow the lower body musculature to function as it should. So we're just holding on here. We've got another 10 seconds. Don't forget this inside, you feel on the outside of the leg. Good stuff. Keep stretching, keep pulling. And we're done. Good work. Well done, guys. I'm going to put the bands down. We're going to move on to some body weighted stretches with no apparatus. The first here, we're going to move on to the front of the thigh. So we've done the back of the leg. We're going to move on to the quad and the hip flexor. Obviously, very, very important musculature. This is just your basic hip flexor. And the muscle in here is called the rectus femoris. The quad muscle, it's one of 4. That's why it's a quadricep, quad being 4. We're stretching and pushing the hip forward and down. And you feel that stretching all the way through the middle of the thigh. That's the rectus femoris muscle. It crosses over the hip and it crosses over the knee. So this is part 1. This is a sequence. It's quite a nice sequence because you pretty much stay in the same position on the mat. So we're just going to hold this one. The more you can move into the stretch, you can put the hands down on the floor, you can move even more forward. Really pushing it down. Again, pain-free range of motion. You should not be extremely uncomfortable. There is an element of discomfort purely because the muscle is being lengthened. You have to hold the stretch too. It's essential that you hold the stretch. Part 2 of this stretch, we move straight into, and if you have knee issues, this one is a little bit more risky. So don't want to do this if you have got extreme knee issues, but what we're doing here is we're going to bring in, hand goes to the floor, right into there, and that's the position that we're going to hold. Now what you can do just as easily, you can put this up against the wall, you can put your Swiss ball against the wall. You want to keep the balance there. If you find that you're falling, there's no problem with keeping the hand down on the floor like that. All right? And we're just holding that stretch. You don't want to pull on the toes. Try and get your hand just around at the ankle position there if you can. If you can't get it around there, put the hand on the floor and just come in at a slightly less intense angle there. You're going to start feeling this stretch a little bit further down toward the knee. Still the hip flexor being lengthened the whole time. Okay, let's put that knee down. And for the third one, I want you to go up. And this is a really deep one. It really lengthens out that hip flexor. Nice deep breaths, focusing on relaxing. That's awesome, guys. Just holding it there. This takes a little bit of strength. You can feel there's a little bit of tension generating up in the thigh, on the hammies. If you find that that's getting a little too intense for you, drop the knee back down again. And we're going to add the final component. We put the hands up over the head. We lean backwards. By leaning backwards, we're now opening up the abdominal cavity, the hip flexor, and all the way down into the quads. We hold that position there. All right, good work. Guys, let's change it up. We're going to move on to the other leg. So we start off, knee on the floor, foot on the floor, and we're just leaning forward. All right, there it is. Just pushing that hip forward. That's hip flexor, the quad, getting out a good stretch. That's it. Good stuff, guys. Just holding it there, relaxing, focus on that breathing. Perfect. Need a bit of support there. We're going to put the hand on the floor. We're going to rock around. Now don't get yourself into any dangerous positions here. You want to make sure that you're able to hold on to this position here. All right? You want to have chest open always. Good posture is essential to these stretches. Don't want to put the lower back into any complicated positions that might aggravate it. The knee, the same thing. You want to make sure that that heel is moving straight up toward the butt. You're not allowing the heel to go left or right. It's tracking in its natural tracking position. The patella's on the floor. If you need to put a bit of extra cushioning under the knee, you can totally do that. That's perfect. Good work. There we go. I'm going to leave that there. So we got two options on the final component. Either up and forward or just forward. But remember, now the arms are over the head. We're opening up, even through the chest, we're starting to move to the upper body a little bit here. That's it. There we go. Pushing it back. Opening it up. Really feel that up through that hip. That's awesome. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Okay, so we're going to leave that one. I'm going to move on to a couple of upper body stretches now, and I'm going to start on the abdominal area. So I'm just going to grab a hold of my ball. You can get your Swiss ball too. Now, the abdominal area, because we spend so much time running, cycling, the abdominals become very tight. So this is a pretty simple exercise, pretty simple stretch to do. What it involves is, and it's quite nice, it's just lying right over the Swiss ball, hands hanging down to the ground. Not only is it opening up the abdominal wall, but it's also opening up the pec and the shoulder girdle. Just getting the setup ready for a couple of the stretches we're going to be doing now. We just hang in there. That's pretty relaxing. If you find the blood's rushing a little bit too much toward the head, you can drop the bum down toward the floor, support the head a little more. Hold it for another 10 seconds. And good work. Okay, so now we're going to keep working on the ball. The next area we're going to we're moving up toward the chest. I'm going to start you off on a pec stretch. Okay, so the pec major, to be specific, all I want there is going down toward the floor, hand on top of the ball, pushing down, feeling that opening up right across the chest. Okay, so get into that position. Let's hold it there. Supporting with your left hand. It's like you bowing down, kissing the ground. This area becomes very tight, spending a lot of time. Keep the stretch going. In the aero position, closes up the shoulders. Swimming closes up the shoulders. Running closes up the shoulders. The chest is now being opened. All right, let's swap it up onto the other side. Same idea, guys. Exactly the same concept. Let's push it down. That's awesome. Feel that good stretch. Nice and relaxed still. Very, very relaxed. You're not tensing any muscles, which is going to make the stretch minimal. Really want to get the most out of every single stretch. Good stuff, guys. Another 5 seconds. Stretching it out, keeping it relaxed. We're going to stay on the ball. I want you to bring it back to your right, or whatever side you started on. We're now just going to have our elbow bent to 90 degrees. I want the elbow above the chest. Okay, so you're in that position there, and I want you, exactly the same idea, drop down. This stretch is for the pec minor, area that becomes very, very tight, often becomes injured. So essential that we stretch this out too. Just holding that stretch, keeping the upper body relaxed, breathing. That's awesome. Good work, guys. Keep it going. Using the body weight to actually get the stretch through. Keep it going. And let's swap it up onto the other side. Exactly the same idea. Arm, the elbow's got to be above your shoulder. That is the key component here. And you can do this stretch up against the doorway or, on a wall or anything. The key for the pec minor is the elbow has got to be above shoulder height, the elbow bent to 90 degrees. Excellent. You really feel that stretching out that pec. And you'll really feel it if you've never done the stretch, because that muscle obviously will be tight. That's good stuff, guys. Keep going. Just holding it on there. And awesome. Let's let that go. Okay, swimmers especially, the lats. Essential part of swimming. This stretch here is going to help us to lengthen out that muscle and basically allow you a better range of motion through the shoulder girdle too. So the first one I'm going to do is a very, very simple stretch. Just putting your hands out on your Swiss ball, I just want you going down onto heels touching the butt and dropping the head. Put the chin on the chest, arms staying straight out in front of you. Relaxing. You want to feel that stretching right through the lat. You can actually feel that lat popping out. Okay, so this is the first point. Hold that stretch there. Good. If you want to go up a little bit, roll forward onto the ball. That just increases that stretch slightly. You're just holding onto that position there, guys. Good work. It's a good stretch out there. You feel that in the lats. We're going to hold this position. I want you to take your right hand off the ball and put it on your left butt cheek. So there it is. Same stretch, exactly the same. You're just on one arm. So now it's just a little more intense. You're just going a little deeper. You're just stretching out through those lats. That thoracic spine that I was talking about a little earlier that becomes tight. We're getting a little bit of action in on there. The lats are part of the T-spine. Got to have a good mobile thoracic spine, especially in swimming. Change it. There we go. The right arm is now up on the ball. The left hand is touching the right butt cheek. And we're stretching. If you want to, you can roll the ball forward, drop more body weight on it. Really increases that stretch. That's excellent work, guys. Good. Just hold on to it there. Just keep that stretch there. And well done. Perfect. I'm going to roll the ball out of the way. We're done with that for the moment. We're just going to be sitting on the mat again. And I want to finish off with this stretch because this is one that really is effective. It's for the thoracic spine. I want you to sit with your feet flat on the floor. You're going to take your hands underneath the feet. So that's the position that you're going to be in. All right? I want you to take your chin and drop it onto your chest. And at the same time, pull the hands up against the legs, okay? Chin on chest and pulling yourself forward, rolling the back. You should feel that stretch all the way from the top of the neck all the way down into the lower back. So really pull those hands up, pull the chin down and round the back out. There we go. It feels good. Feel that in the middle of the spine especially. Like I said to you, that thoracic spine, very tight. Hold it for another 5. And done. All right, good stuff, guys. Okay, so that's just a very brief sequence of stretches. Most of the most important areas covered. If you need more stretches, go to mytriathlonpipeline.com. There's a whole bunch more information on stretching. If you have any questions, we'll be pleased to answer them. But you've got to keep the flexibility and the range of motion about those joints to optimize your performance. So keep stretching, do it every day. Even if you spend 5 minutes a day after your training session, make sure that you get your stretching in. We're done and dusted on this one, but we'll speak to you guys soon.